Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the Tangle 9-2 from CZT Lin Chiu. This is such a neat tangle. We today, the day of this recording, had a couple tangle time sessions focusing in on this tangle, and oh my gosh, what fun. Um, I think the extra fun part about it is that there are multiple endless ways that you can finish it if you want to. But we'll focus in on just the tangle, and then I'll show you some pictures. But do check the for more inspiration link in the description section. That'll take you to Tangle Patterns where I found this, and that way you can see Lynn's her step out as well as her beautiful artwork, just to give you extra ideas. All right, so this one starts with an orb. So putting that in the center. Then you kind of pick whichever way is you want to call top just to get things started. But we're going to draw a straight line from that orb. Now this is where kind of playing with it after playing with it, then you can decide the length of these initial lines. And there's, of course, as we go, if you think you need to extend it a little bit, of course you can. All right, then we're turning our paper, and we're going to do the same thing, creating essentially four sides. So it's like we're boxing in the orb and creating these four spokes coming out of it. Then, as you see, this creates a nice angle. Was it 45 degrees? I forget. Anyway, never mind that. It creates this really nice angle. And so what we're going to do is put your pen in the corner of that, and we're going to just divide it. So making a diagonal line dividing that corner. And then same thing, just turning your tile, essentially rinse and repeat. Well, that one was really long. Well, I guess I'm going to make them all a little bit longer. And then this is just what usually happens. It's like, oh, and that one, okay, I keep going longer and longer. There's a tangle that does that naturally where you just keep subsequent go-arounds, of the tangle, and, you make them larger, and it's like, okay, I can't do it there. I can do it when I don't want to, though. All right, so now that you have this is where the 9 and the 2 numbers come in. And if I didn't mention, make sure to go take a look at that. Besides the beautiful artwork, get the story behind the name of the tangle. It's really cute. All right, so what we're going to do is essentially we're going to put an orb. If you find the straight lines that you did, so that just the first set, and then to the left of it, we're going to draw a big orb, and I'm going to have it touch. Now here's where you could adjust if need be. So I'm going to make this orb so like I'm going to start it here, and I'm going to make it big, going up and around, right? But if you needed it to be maybe a little smaller, I suppose you could, start a little lower. It's one way that adjustments could be made, but I'm making a ginormous one right there. And then turn the tile. So we're going to skip this space because this is the diagonal line. Skipping this. So on all of these, and I'm just going to call that the straight line because I'm like, well, if you look at it, of course it looks straight, but I think you know what I mean. So these original lines that we did, again, big orb, kind of have it touch the that diagonal line next to it. And I think this one, let's raise it up a little bit. And see, that's what's kind of nice is like I can raise it up and then start the orb. And you know what? If they're not the same sizes or whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, so there we go. This creates the 9. So if we were to follow the path, and actually, I'll show you in a minute. If we were to follow this all the way down here, actually, I will show you. This was from one of our classes, and you can see the highlighted. This is well, it's supposed to be green, although I don't know if it looks green on the screen. So you see that's a 9. And so we have nines all the way around that. That's what we created. Next is going to be the 2. And I'm sharing both ways because I don't get hung up on, oh, I'm making a 9 or I'm making a 2. I found it helpful to just have it in my mind. But I did find from our classes, if you watch the replays, the first one we had, I had everybody all confused. So because I was focusing in too much on that. So I learned my lesson. No, I'm just teasing. All right. So the 2, and you know what? Let me show you that first. So coming and what I did was I did these as samples just so separate. So skipping the 9 part just so you can see it clearer. Pretend here that orb is there, but we're going to, from that, again, original first set of lines, spokes, we'll say, we're going to draw a nice big curved line that's going to meet the diagonal line that is to the right of it. So kind of working, I'm going to say backwards because that's what it feels like. But you can see how then it creates this bigger number 2, like that. Now, I don't draw my 2s like that when I write 2s. I don't do, but this is how you would see it a lot of times, right? So you get the idea. I found it nice to keep that in my mind, so that way it added a lot more shape to this versus if I just thought, well, I'm just going to draw a curved line, then it would end up being like this. But I'm thinking, and I want to make sure that I'm lining it up with this, right? So I'm making a big line, a big circle, and I am tracing over a little bit, so kind of that takeoff and land concept. So, coming around and then tracing over a little bit just for the continuity, and then you can see that 2 there. And then, again, just turning the tile, and that one just because it was a little bit weak down here, I retraced over it, and then, coming in and tracing over a little bit of that, where we're having it meet up. And again, I'm finding it helpful to, so I'm seeing where I'm starting, and I'm seeing this, and the 2, and then I have that in my head as I'm drawing it, so that way, so far, it's given me the best shot of being something that, turning out the way I would want it to turn out. All right. That is essentially it. But then you have decorating options and shading options. Now, you could just leave it like this, and I want to try the shading just a little bit different, and it's nice that I did it a bit big. Because on Lin's example, one of them, she did the shading, but she pulled it in a little ways, and I wanted to give that a try. Almost like making an aura with the graphite. And this is what I like to do, is I turn my tile, so I pick whatever I want to have as up, and then I'm just doing that same side, and I think I'm worried now I got a little bit too heavy-handed on that, but we shall see. Okay, no, I think it'll be fine. Okay, now for a tortillon, and I'm just going to smudge it out. We'll just start by just smudging it out a little bit, just almost like running over it, not necessarily spreading it out, but where it's just kind of doing it naturally because of the thickness of this. And like I said, spreading it out so I'm not really seeing that initial line. And yeah, I just went and looked back at what I saw of on her Tangle Patterns page, and to make sure I was remembering what I saw right, because it only takes a second, and I forgot. Could be a little bit lighter, but it's all right. And I say there we go. And I say that, but what I see online, I see some just absolutely gorgeous things, and a lot of times it's gorgeous because of the dramaticness of the shading. It's like, well, and then you can kind of play with it a little bit, so I can kind of bring it out a little bit more if I want to. But you know what? This in the same token, I think that looks kind of neat. It does. And then there's, of course, lots of ways that you can play with it. And here's what I'm going to... Well, I don't know if I want to do that or not. Not sure. I was going to put a little white stripe in there. Not sure if I want to do that or not. I'm going to think about that for a moment. And while I think about it, so just to show some extra ideas, we're trying to figure out, the name of this shape here. We've seen it in architecture, both like in Russia or in India, and so we were looking for the name of what that is. But you can draw that. I'm going to look up. If you know, put it in the comments. We were saying Sultan something, like Sultan curve or something. That was what had come up. But if you know, help us out. Let us know. But I started this one off by doing that around just the orbs, and then kind of bridge them together with a larger one. So that was some fun. This one I did shading right up to the edge, and then added a little swipe of the white jelly roll just to add that little bit of shine. This one I just did one, but then I added, we call this perfing, just little dots around the aura, and I was squishing it into this space because this was what I had started with, and it ended up being an explanation tool. But then did some shading around the outside just to make the top kind of raise up, pop off of the bottom part, and it ended up looking neat. And then this one, which is not complete, but I had started this one as I was playing with this a long time ago, and decided to finish it up. And it's the same idea as I've done here, just on a larger scale on this big Zendala. So it's a really, really neat tangle. Like I said, you can you can do it in a row, and if you look at the For More Inspiration link, you'll see how she's done it. As a ribbon or a border tangle. Really, really neat. Or, like I said, you can make it large size and then have fun decorating it however you want to. So, with that, I hope you enjoyed, and I appreciate your watching. If you liked the video, would love to have that thumbs up or the like. Feel free to share it, of course. And also, if you like it enough to see more, would love to have you be a subscriber to the channel. And they say subscribing, of course, to the channel is free. Also, in the description section, besides the step outs, you'll find ways to connect with me if you would like to. If you would like to join in on a live session, would love to have you. I do both paid and free classes, and Thursdays, unless there's a holiday or something unavoidable. Every Thursday I have 2 sessions where we just take a tangle and explore it and have a lot of fun. So would love to have you join us. And with that, again, thanks so much for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.